Hi friends, host Eric here, host Talking with Famous People, and I want to talk about expectation time frame completion disorder or something. Here's the deal. I've always been somebody who really likes to see the light at the end of the tunnel. When I begin a project, I want to imagine that if I work furiously for a very long block of time, if I just work furiously for 10 straight hours, I can finish it in one sitting. That I'm not going to have to go away from it, sleep, come back to it later. The reason I think I developed this bad habit is because early in life I determined that if I don't get it done during the burst of enthusiasm I have for it, it becomes dreadful or dreaded, I guess would be more correct, but dreadful as well. Then it becomes a weight on my shoulders that I have to get back to, and I don't probably have the zeal that carried me into the project to begin with. So that may have been very true for me when I was younger, that I had to be careful about thinking I was going to follow through on projects that lasted more than a day or a sitting. When I was a kid, I remember having many ideas of how from now on I'm going to and not realizing when I made those resolutions that the firmness of my resolve was something that I could not rely upon to still be there later on. So when I in fact didn't follow through, and I'd see the artifacts of having begun something with belief that turned out to not warrant that kind of faith, it embarrassed me. Even if it just embarrassed me with myself. It would certainly be something I'd want to hide from other people. Like, oh, I started this project thinking I was going to do this big thing, and then it just all fizzled out, and I never followed through, and I guess I just all talk. Well, that's F.E. putting the clamps on myself. It's more concerned about how it looks than what it is. So I needed to have that period of time when I was enthusiastic. My enthusiasm would cause me to have unrealistic predictions about my own behavior in the future. And I did need to learn that I have to be cautious in what I believe myself capable of if it involves follow-through in the long term. But I think I took it, and I think just pretty much every HCP will, if given the opportunity, to take it too far. Like, as I've gotten older and I've begun understanding the processes involved with doing things better, so my TE has gotten better, I know now, like, I don't need to rush through this song I'm recording. I'm going to probably end up having to redo the guitar completely. The vocals are coming together pretty nice, but that may not, it's like, basically I'm practice recording the song so I get the arrangement down right for, not just the arrangement of the song, but like the arrangement of how I play the guitar, for example. So maybe in one section it's just striking on the downbeats, dun, 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 dun. And one section maybe I'm playing like strumming pattern. And one section maybe I'm on the upbeats. Or there are different ways to present this chord progression on the guitar, and knowing which way I want to do in which section is something that doesn't happen right away, even if the song's fully written. Like, I have all the parts and the arrangement of the song, but that doesn't necessarily mean I know how I want to execute it exactly. So that's something I didn't even used to think about as a meaningful factor. I just figured, well, I just do some shit, whatever sounds cool, I'll just do that, and I just keep that, and It's good enough. Well, I guess that good hard is good enough. Well, because I understand the TE of shit better now, I'm allowing myself to work on this without being too attached to it, knowing as I'm working on it that this guitar is not really going to be kept. And so it's a willingness and ability to have worked for an hour or two on something, to scrap it all and start it over is a good thing for me. Even if it means scrap this, go to bed, I'll start over in the morning. I know I am going to record this song. I don't have to worry about that at all. There's no doubt that it's getting recorded. And there's no doubt that it'll be recorded in an expedient fashion because I have the hard parts already done. The hard parts are things like arrangement and like making sure that it's all blocked in times. So I'll sometimes write songs that have a weird like fifth measure somewhere that throws everything off, and then I've got to adjust it or fix it somehow that it goes back into four. So I'll have to like put like three measures of just sort of strumming or of like a percussive build or something, so that it'll be back into the right structure. Like that kind of shit can be difficult. That's all done with this song. Like I got no problems, none of the difficult architectural problems that mean something may yet still not come together. That's the fear, right? You don't want to put all this bunch of time in it and just not ever come together, and it just feels like a big waste of time. Well, I don't got to worry about that with this. It is going to come together. I know this for a fact, and I have to be patient and allow it to come together properly. Which means I have to feel confident to know exactly how I want it to go and how I want it to be in all the parts. Where do I want doubled vocals? Where do I want harmonies? And where do I just want the melody doubled? Or where do I want just a single voice doing the melody? Questions like that I need to know before I begin recording it. And there's questions that I did not know before I began recording, or before I began really producing the song, I guess I should say. Those are questions I have not known in the past, and it just ends up how it ends up. Well, I've got a few vocal tracks. This one kind of sounds good with this one. I'll just keep that pairing there, and blah, blah, blah. NI is all about knowing in advance what you want, or what the best way is. Knowing in advance what the best way is introverted intuition. Knowing how important it is to you to do it the best way versus do some sort of half-assed version of it, that's FI. And it explains why I do so much half-assed shit. I am unaware in a lot of circumstances of whether or not it's important to me that I do this seriously, or if it's okay that I do it half-assed. Like, it's important to me to have the YouTube channel continue to grow and be successful and stuff like that, and I'd like to become famous. But if I really understood the significance of that to me, then I would prioritize NI in more areas. And that's where bipolar FI, gets me. I know what it's easier for me to know what I feel like doing right now than it is to know what I want. And those are different things. What do I feel like doing right now? Well, I feel like, man. Okay, well, is that the most useful? Is that the best way you can spend this time? Well, no, but it sounds diverting. Okay, well, you don't need diversions here. You're diverted enough. So, I guess the reason for this video primarily is a little self-coaching. I'd like to try to make explicit all the narratives of growth for myself so that I can check back against them and see if I'm making progress. I like to make progress as a person, as a doer. I like to make progress in my character, not on my quest so much. I do like to make progress on quests, but mostly what I like on quests is to complete them, and then I can go back to pay attention to the progress my character is making. Ooh, I leveled up in that one. So the one sitting thing, it's like I don't like to leave the progress on my character aspect of the game, and so I try to find short quests so that I can, I don't get stuck out there in quest lands for too long, not attending to the character. But at this point in my life, attending to the character is best attained by attending to the quests. I have all the necessary skills. It's time for me to put them into practice. That means trying my hardest, basically. Trying my hardest, being patient, being focused, caring as much as I can about everything being right. It should be... The thing is, it's not going to ever get that way with the videos, probably. I can see myself, in part because I don't have a clear narrative of how that manifests. Do I forego the core engine of my of what makes me keep coming back to making more and more videos, which is kind of vloggy, in favor of a more narrowly defined channel? Or do I try to do the same thing but make fewer videos but edit them more? It's like I don't have any clear path on the YouTube channel. I don't understand what the best way forward would be, so I can't create the right narrative. So I can't possibly narrow my focus that much. I can, however, create narratives about bad stuff that I'd like to excise. For example, I am making an effort to excise some of the more abrasive FE mistakes. I don't want to come across as arrogant and pedantic and aggressively positioning myself as I am the gauge of all knowing, which I think I have a lot in the past, and I think I have recently even. It's like you get resentful. People get resentful. I get resentful too, and sometimes I express resentments I don't even have because maybe I used to have them, or maybe they seem narratively sound or something. It's like I watch some videos by people who've got way more subscribers than me, and I'll think, well, that video didn't even tell me anything interesting, or didn't even say anything. I didn't learn anything from this. Well, but you watch the whole thing, Eric, and you often don't even watch your own videos if they're of the more boring variety. So what does that tell you? It tells you that guy's making better videos, whether they're more intelligent or not. And you need to respect that and try to learn from it. That's what you have to learn from this video. It's not anything about what the content of the words are saying. Rather, you need to learn from this video about video making. Are you doing this for yourself, or are you doing this for yourself? So, if I'm doing it for myself, like, it's my kind of playing video games, then that's one thing. If I'm doing it for myself, then I need to have some understanding of where it links into either character development or quest completion. And as mentioned, my character's mature. I shouldn't be focusing so much on character development anymore. I'm not in the stage where I'm still learning to be a good guitarist, or I'm not still in the stage where I'm learning the different perspectives that people bring into play when they approach problems in their lives. I'm not in the stage where I'm still learning the different kinds of metaphysics people have, the different kinds of worldviews and solvencies and such. I understand that. I'm not still in the phase where I'm learning what cognitive functions are and how they work and what that means. And I've got all that down. So it's time to go and use the skills I've developed over time, or that I've become over time, to accomplish quests. And that means achieving on universalist metrics, not just particularist ones. It might be that I think that's a great video, but if I think that's a great video, and I also know that it is unlikely to do well on a broad scale, then I'm aiming lower than I could. There's no reason why I can't make a video that's both I think is really good and that I believe, at least to the best of my ability and knowledge, think will be very successful amongst viewers in general. So the point is, life's a challenge. You gotta walk a weird line between keeping yourself honest and being good to yourself. I could sit around and beat myself up for not slaving away long enough or hard enough, or not being precise enough, for not, I mean, there's infinite ways I fail all the time that I could highlight and condemn myself for. I guess that to do so would presumably be intended to motivate me or something, but it is a tough line to walk. You got to figure out how much is my happiness and my sense of self-worth and my understanding of who I am going to be contingent upon this metric, and how much of it is going to be implicit, and why. That's a tricky one to answer. There's some sort of like archetype of the spiritual guide who somehow is endlessly unflappable, is always has joy and sees the sparkling humor in his eye in the most dire situations, who's at peace with the status quo, is at peace with not being an impactful agent, but rather forsaking his agency, not even forsaking it, but his wisdom liberates him from his agency in some regard. I mean, I just am not buying it at all, because we have a choice. You know, it's like human beings, at least in the modern free world, have nearly limitless liberty to do as they please, to impact or not impact the world as they see fit, to elicit or avoid consequences, to define themselves, and to meaningfully leave artifacts behind from their existence. To simply go like, oh well, I'm not attached to anything anymore, and that's a beautiful thing, because now I don't feel bad about not doing anything. That's not a good thing. that means you don't care enough. You should care a lot more. Oh no, we care, we're just not attached, we're just zen and okay, whatever, dude. So you cured cancer, you said? Oh no, that's right, you don't do stuff like that. That's too, what, karma inducing or something? Well, what kind of stuff do you do? Well, you wrote this Zen koan. You didn't even write it down. Some other dude wrote it down for you. Well, what do you do then? We meditate. And, okay, well, that's not doing anything. That's just fucking around. Fucking around playing, you know. It's like, it's... Alright, so what Zen... It's very similar to the... very similar to the other thing I was saying before, whereas it's just a different thing to over-focus on. It's like I'm constantly getting my character better. If you're a Zen person, you're not so much interested in the development of the character overall, but you instead care about, okay, is he right this second, is my character in optimal is my character in optimal shape to fight and win a battle? Is his health all the way up the top? Are all his shields and swords and stuff in full repair? That's what Zen's concerned about. But they seem to think that as long as that's the case, then it's okay if you never actually use the character to do anything. That's fucking moronic. So, you know, also is it moronic that I think, well, I can just make my character stronger and stronger and stronger and more diversely skilled without ever actually using those skills on a quest? No. That's also moronic. Yes, I mean, yes, that's also moronic. So the point is, you've got to run away. I've got to get away. I've got to. You gotta strike a balance. You've got to direct some attention to your character's current state of health and well-being, like the Zen people would suggest is important. You've got additionally to pay some attention to the skills and abilities of your character, as again ENTP would say is important. And you additionally have to actually go accomplish some shit, like an ESTP would say is important. Sometimes you need to make decisions, that is, they deliberate. Rather than doing any of those things, you got to deliberate and decide what to do. But you shouldn't spend all your time deciding what to do and deliberating. That would be, if you do that, then you're an INFP, INTP. You're too stuck in the deliberation phase. You're too stuck in the character development phase. You're like ENTP, I guess, and ENFP. You're too stuck in the go out and slay shit phase. You're ESTP, ESFP. If you're too stuck in the singular course phase, like you're just too all about, I guess the NI and the SI are kind of like the NI is all about stories over realities. SI is all about animal over character, and NE's all about growth over accomplishment. SE's all about accomplishment over growth, etc., etc., etc. The end.